Hello, I hope this finds you very well today. If you're new here, my name is Kat. If you've been here for a while, it's lovely to welcome you back. It's been a while. It's the new year, we're in 2024. It is a up and down Tuesday morning. The weather is very cold. I say very cold, I've seen lots of minus 36-degree weather among friends, so it's not that cold here, but we do finally have some frosty mornings, which has been really nice to see. I haven't yet been able to go out for a nice frosty morning walk, so I'm hoping to do that this week. And yeah, I hope that the new year is being kind to you. If you did any celebrating over the holidays, I hope you had a lovely time. I have a little bit of footage from our time off to share with you at the end. I know that the years of COVID kind of left us in a weird place. We used to go out for walks in different places quite frequently, and I guess being busy and catching up, we didn't do as much of that last year, and I'm really excited to. So without having resolutions, I feel for me personally, hey, sorry for this waffle up front, but you know, it's been a while. I think for me, winter's more about reflecting than setting sort of intentions, which is a preferred word over resolutions for me. I think we're always growing, so there's always something we're trying to improve on slightly, but generally I reflect in the winter and then come to some sort of intention as spring happens. And I think this year it's more about being outdoors because it just makes me so happy, and just letting go of some things, adding some more in. If you're new here, I started this from a place of wanting to connect with people when I couldn't get outside myself. And as I've followed this journey, my craft has become less of a crutch and something I feel like I have to do and something that I want to do. So it's a very subtle shift. It's not like I was forced to do knitting and crafting, but there's a different kind of more groundedness to it now. And yeah, I just think there's been I've done a lot of thinking over the last few weeks. I have been quite unwell, so I do have a little bit of a funky voice going on at the moment, and if I do need to cough or anything, I will stop the video. But yeah, I did so much making over the holidays that I do have a lot to share. I will put the weaving in a separate video, and if you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen that my wonderful, wonderful husband, with the help of Marina, thank you so much, surprised me with a loom for Christmas, and it's a rigid heddle weaving loom. It's just behind me here, and I love it. I knew I would, and I won't get into too much detail, but I really, really, really enjoyed the process, and I'm quite excited to delve deeper into this craft. But actually on here at the moment is a project that Alex is working on. He is making himself a scarf, and I will get a little bit of footage as that happens so that you can see it. But yeah, super, super exciting, and yeah, I don't know, given that Weaver is my maiden name, it definitely feels kind of ancestral. It feels quite like it's the right thing that I should be doing and developing. So yeah, without further ado, let's talk knitting, shall we? Shall we do that? And some, I've got a little bit of spinning, just a tiny bit. I lie, I need to get out 2 more. Not lie, but I think, I'm pretty sure I do. Little Audrey has discovered her crunchies, having been asleep all morning. Go figure. I am wearing, because it's nice to quickly get these spoken about because I do often get asked if I don't mention it. I am wearing my Soldotna by Caitlin Hunter. Oh, wow. I knitted this ages ago. I nearly got rid of it, and I'm so glad I didn't. It's one of my favourite sort of t-shirt jumpers. I didn't think that I was a fan, but it turns out I just didn't have any cardigans in my wardrobe. I am indeed a fan and really like the fit of this one. It is knitted using a variety of yarns. I don't know that I'm going to remember them all off the top of my head, but let's try. So the dark grey is Kelborn Woolen's Scout. The dark green is Rowwork DK, one of my favourite yarns ever, which is also the same as the light grey. Honestly, just one of my favourite. It's so bouncy and the perfect softness. And then the light green is Bucale, I believe, by Kate Davies. I can't remember the colour, but I really like this item. My cardigan is the Tolk, the Ultimate Lazy Cardigan by Albiona McLaughlin. One of my favourite items as well. It does now need a little bit of fixing. I've got 2 holes in it, one in the sleeve and one in the back. So I am going to do that. I am so far surprised that this was knitted using Plutalopi, which is an unspun yarn, and it's been very hard wearing considering the wear I've put into it. It's probably my most worn cardigan, I would say, with the exception of maybe my Big Love. But I think this is just because it's the darker colour. I think I would like to knit this again when this one really is worn through and I can't do much to fix it. But I will use a spun yarn, probably Icelandic wool. Whether that's the lace weight held double, maybe just let Lopi, I don't know, but I really love this combination. I never put, well, I don't tend to put buttons on my cardigans. I tend to leave them open if I'm wearing them and put a jumper on if I'm going to have something closed. But I'm also starting to use shawl pins more. Yeah, I'd quite like to whittle myself a simple wooden one, I think, and dye it black because obviously, but I think that's something that I'd like to do. Anyway, that's what I'm wearing. I do have socks on my feet that are hand knitted. I do have hand knitted slippers, but I don't know, I'm not feeling that bendy and I feel a bit weird. Like, not, I want to be here sharing with you, but I actually just want to sit and chat rather than do the whole editing process today. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone that shares. I want to like sit around a fire and just talk and share about what everyone's making. So if you want to share what you're making, please do share. I'm going to be better this year. I want, and by better I just mean better in regards to Discord. I really want to do knit nights. I'm still reluctant. I don't love being at a screen so much. I know that it's both a curse and a blessing to be this well connected and to be able to just be like, right, should we just have a knit night? But sometimes when you're just able to sit down and just be, it's nice to just sit down and just be. Do you think? Like, sit and watch someone and not have to do input or think. Anyway, we are waffling a go today and I've only had 2 sips of coffee. Hey Audrey! Oh no, she's found the crinkly one. Hey! Come and say hi! I know that you don't really like doing this, but you know you're beautiful and people really like you. We'll have to figure out a way of getting you on the screen again. Maybe we sit on the sofa with you. That is Audrey, if you haven't met her. She was my little house tiger. I have so many things. I'm going to show this one because I wore it in the last video recorded. I actually took it off so that I could show you it and like show you it and play with it rather than be wearing it. But I've worn this thing so much, and part of me is like, if you wear it this much, you should just make another one. We don't need to. We've got this. We love it. But you know what I mean? It's just exciting. Like, oh, I'll just do it again. And I think I might make Alex one when he's chosen some yarn. So this is the Traveller hoodie by Emissary that I have modified. I've also copied lovely Maggie of the Sonder Knitting and Reading podcast and knit it using Handspun. This is the first garment I've made using almost entirely Handspun. It's not fully, and I'll explain that when the time comes. But I didn't check wraps per inch. I didn't swatch for this. I did a tiny little swatch where I kind of checked that I liked the main two colours, which are the dark brown and the variegated purpley green yarn, and checked that I liked the fabric I was getting and roughly where it was in terms of gauge. And then we cast on. I knit the smallest size, I'm pretty sure, and modified. I knitted the length almost to the same length as Andrea recommends. I omitted the short rows because I didn't need them. The way that my body is shaped is just different. Everyone's is different, so here we go. But I am very rectangular. I have not much going on in any direction apart from maybe I have quite long shoulders. Because I'm quite narrow, I don't really need to add much for a drop shoulder anyway. So all that to say is, as I was knitting, I was very aware that if I added all the short rows that were recommended, if any, it would actually be too big for me. So I omitted them, and that's all I did there. I did the sleeves basically as recommended, just shorter. Again, I'm a little person. I added a little sneaky pocket, not a proper pocket like a big one, but I added one that's the perfect size for my phone, and I was going to edge it with an I-cord to like finish it off more, but I really liked the fact that it was like almost hidden. It's just like a sneaky pocket. And that I did just like by checking my gauge and casting it on separately, knitting it back and forth, doing some decreases, and then just grafting it on, just sewing it in. And then I lined the hood. Absolutely not a step that is recommended, but I have been looking after my hair better, and also I just felt like it would be super cozy. To do that, I picked up stitches. Where did I pick up? I can't remember. Oh yeah, I picked up stitches along the top and basically worked the hood inverted. I had to do a little bit of maths to do so, but I picked up stitches after swatching. I did do a little swatch for the hood. I didn't block it, but I knew that normally when I'm holding a wool yarn and a mohair, it grows and relaxes just a little bit. It doesn't grow massively, but the fibres just loosen up slightly and it just opens up a touch. So I just cast on accordingly and worked the hood in reverse, and then once I got to the neckline I just grafted it in again. And that's it. That is it. The only yarns that aren't handspun were this little doodly-doo, which I was tempted to do a bit of weaving on my inkle loom for, and I might do it so it's sturdier. It's not got as much bounce, but this was a project that I took with me to somewhere. We went on a walk and just walked and did an I-cord as we went. And then this, which is, I think it's kid seater mohair and a bit of, I can't remember because This was done a while ago. I feel like this was Whistle Bear. I am sorry that this has been such a long time, but yeah, either way, it's a lovely DK weight yarn and I'm super happy with it. I've worn this thing so much. Yeah. I love it. I really, really am very happy, and I do really want to cast on with my Handspun that I dyed with Marina. And I have done a little swatch. I'm still just not sure. I think it should be a cardigan because I have the most gorgeous buttons that a lovely friend kindly said to me. It's over there, so I'm looking. But I'm just not sure. I'll show you. This might just be a really long episode and then we've sort of talked about everything ever and we're kind of starting the new year afresh. Maybe we'll do that. But here's a little bit of that yarn that I'm on about. So it was a Romney silk and mohair with a little bit of Jacob that my very kind friend Kelsey sent to me, who is knitting the Kabi. So this is like a very special yarn. It's got a bit of everything in it. The Romney's from a lady that I met at a festival who very kindly let me try a spinning wheel for the first time. So it's quite special for that. I always think about these things and it's not interesting necessarily to share it, but I hope that it makes other people get excited and think about their yarn in that way. I don't know. But here's the swatch so far, and one of them is on 8mm. Well, half of it's on 8mm and half of it's on 6.5, and this isn't a big swatch. I just wanted to get an idea and of what it would look like, and then to do a bigger swatch using the needle that I chose. And weirdly, I think it looks nicer on the larger needle. I thought it'd look better denser. I am thinking maybe I might swatch in a chunky rib or just a really simple texture, because it has to be a cardigan or something that needs buttons. Look at these. Who are UK Buttoned Up on Etsy or Buttoned Up UK on Instagram. But like, and I actually think a nice simple cardigan that just lets this yarn speak for itself is the way to go. But whether it's a texture or just stockinette, I think stockinette just makes sense to me for a cardigan. Yeah, and I just think all black everything and a nice cardigan with, like, I think we're back in sort of farm emo cottage witch vibes. It's like all black everything with just a pop of a colour. And I've recently started wearing orange again, which is a weird thing to be that excited about, but I grew up wearing loads of earth tones and then, I don't know, suddenly I was like, nah, I can't. And then now I'm like, why? It's not I can't, because I always wear it if I wanted to, but you know what I mean? I'm suddenly more like, yeah, that's cool again. So that's really exciting to me. I'm really waffly. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Let's do the other one that's a really long standing, well actually I have two. I have two that are quite long-standing wipes. One of them was a finished project and then I unfinished it, and I wasn't sure I'd wear it, but I actually think I'm gonna. And then the other one, let's just show you one. Let's stop fussing. It's the big boy. I actually, as soon as I finished this, I was like, oh, it would be really nice to have a nice relaxing big blanket in it that I can just pick up when I want. So I have cast on a shawl that kind of scratches that itch. But this is my second half and half, slightly modified. It's the striped half and half wrap by Pearl Soho that I have done with As I Will Do. The reason I cast this on was because I had some of my local yarn left and that we had spun ourselves, and my lovely friend Kelsey of Knitting Nakabi sent everyone in our D&D group a mini skein set of yarn inspired by our characters in our D&D campaign. This is fantasy trash, and this is the reason that I cast this on, was because I wanted a blanket to have and knit on while we play D&D and to like snuggle down in, because my other half and half keeps getting used as a sofa blanket and I wear it out. I wear it loads when I'm out of the house. I didn't want it to kind of see that extra aging, if that makes sense. So I cast this one on and had a great time doing so. The first half I did using all of the character colours together because that felt right. I'm not going to name all the colours, all the yarns, because we'd be here forever. But I then did a big block of colour and a bit of striping. She's big. And then when you knit this shawl, and I've explained this before, so sorry if you've heard this, I try and re-explain things in case not, people don't know. But you're knitting a triangle, and to do so you're basically casting on a big long length of stitches, say here, and then the rows get shorter as you work short rows, so then you've got one big triangle here. And then what you do is you cast on and then you start increasing. However, what I do is I go back on myself to close all the short rows, do an extra row, and then cast on all the stitches again and then start working shorter. It just keeps you motivated with the rows getting smaller, because once you've done the first half you're like, oh, I'm on the second half, and then suddenly you've got this big long bit of knitting to do. But because you do it striped, if you want, it's suddenly really fun. You're rolling dice. I roll dice. So you've got something to look forward to. The rows are getting shorter again, and then in no time it's finished. What I did for the second half was I knitted in this alternating 1 by 1 striping until I ran out of the cream yarn, which is the local yarn to me. I think this was 12 colours, so I used a 12-sided dice and then a 6-sided dice. And then for the ending, for the final bit, I just used up every single inch of some of the colours so that like those colours were gone out of my stash. So it's a weird looking shawl, but I love it. The shawl blanket. So if you're in the market for a nice gentle project to work on when you're sat in front of the TV or anything, I think this is a great sofa project. I would be inclined to knit another one, and I do keep looking at this, and I have thought about using this mini skein set, which yeah, it's just beautiful. It's the Legends and Lattes mini skein collection from the Corner of Craft. I don't need more of Hannah's yarn, but I really wanted to support Hannah doing something slightly different. I just really like Hannah. I really like the way she dyes yarn, and you know, keep lifting people up if you can, right? So I have thought about putting this into a blanket, but I think it needs to be either in a garment or in a shawl. I think it has to be something a bit more wearable. But yeah, I don't know, this, I just love green. I love green. Predictable. But that's good. We know what we like. Anyway, next one. This was going to be my wedding top. I ended up knitting a different top. A lovely dyer called Back to Blighty, hi Becky, dyed me up a custom colour, and it was beautiful. It was called Catherine, and I ended up using that. But this was going to be my wedding top, and it ended up being released as a pattern in the Journal of Scottish Yarn, and otherwise it wouldn't have been released. I worked on this top myself and stressed out a lot. Many reasons for that, but it's finally released, and I ended up ripping out the sleeves. Basically, I worked this we called this the swirly top for years. It's the Thunen top, but we worked this texture on the sleeves, or I did, not we, and they finished with the feather and fan vibes, but I ended up not really liking that look, and I thought about making it a short sleeved, but I had enough of this mohair, and I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna do like a bishopy sleeve vibe. So that is what we did. This is in the magazine. There's like a long sleeve version, a short sleeve version, but I just unpicked the sleeves, which is fun in mohair that's been knitted for like nearly 3 years. But I did unpick it just to about here, and then I put the stitches back on to the needles, and I think I used like a 4mm, slightly larger than recommended, to just knit straight, and then did a knit two together, round and bound off. And I'm really happy with it. I think, you know, I don't often wear light colours, but it does go with my wedding skirt really well, and that's been cut short on the underneath layer, so it's a bit less formal. So I could wear this to a wedding if I wanted to now, but I think I will probably wear this with like this black linen skirt. And feel, you know, whimsical and cute. I don't know. I just like it. I don't know. I don't often wear light colours, but I wear a bit of everything, you know. This is an undyed mohair. I believe it's Rowan mohair that I got before I really started knitting. I bought it for crocheted snowflake earrings. And then I can't remember what this is, but it is a mohair yarn. Yeah, I feel quite pleased that this is back and able to be worn, because it was just sort of looking kind of special in my cupboard for ages, and yeah. I quite want to knit more of these. I really enjoyed this pattern. I didn't... Anyway. Shut it down! Stop waffling! I do actually, they are just in my wardrobe, but I do have a jumper and a cardigan that I finished, and I will just talk about them next time I'm wearing them, rather than, because then we're starting clean slate, right? I've shared almost everything that I've got, and we're like up to date. I don't have Alex's porkies, but he needed them. They're like little fingerless mitts that he's taken to work. So maybe I'll get him on because he's been doing some dyeing, some natural dyeing and some weaving. So maybe I'll get him on and we'll share them. But otherwise, clean slate. And I think that might make me feel a bit better and a bit less... Yes, a bit less were turkey. Okay. The only other finished objects are hats, and this one is incredibly predictable. It's a 1x1 rib hat. I do these quite often. I'm still very sad that I can't find my two favourite 1x1 rib hats anywhere. One of them is knitted using Let Lopi in this lovely black heather colourway. I really like that hat. It's softened up beautifully. It's kept my head warm for years. And the other one is knitted using a 4-ply yarn and a mohair. And they are approximately 100 stitches on a 3.5mm needle in the round with like a 4 or 5 point decrease on the top. That's exactly what this is. And I knitted a red one to see if we could break that curse and hopefully bring them back, but so far no luck. This is, I believe it's, I can't remember the colour name. It's something about apple. But I love this colour. It goes with my Wild Mother shawl because it's the same yarn. It is the BFL Gotland base from Gathered Sheep Yarns. I love this base so much. It's got a bit of halo to it. It's got a little bit of heathering in there. It's just beautiful. Yeah, I really love this yarn. I really like the hat. I feel like Steve Zissou, which is the dream. If you haven't seen The Life Aquatic, I really recommend it. It's a lovely Wes Anderson film. Great soundtrack, great characters. And yeah, I just really wanted to add to my hat collection in a colour that might not just disappear. This I cast on because, like I said, I've not been very well. It was a bit of a pop situation. I went for the longest run that I've done since before getting unwell, which was great, and then panicked because I thought I'd pushed myself and made myself unwell and caused myself to have a flare-up. But what I think had happened is that morning I'd woken up and I was like, oh, Alex, I feel really achy. And I should have known. And then basically I've just got a cold. But it triggered my immune system and I've just been at home and really felt like I wanted a nice warm black hat. So I cast on this is the Skyhill hat by Emily Foden, and I've knitted this hat before. Actually, the last time I knitted it, I think I was twisting my pearl stitches, which made this a real not fun project to knit because I was having to untwist every other row. It's my fault. But it's a really nice pattern to knit. It's really relaxing. Once you set the little slip stitch rows up, it's a breeze. I was knitting this while playing D&D. I used this Plutalopi yarn and a strand of mohair and a strand of, it's an alpaca silk lace weight that I've got on a cone. I don't know where it's from, but I've got it on a cone and I just put that through it to try and give it a little bit more strength. I knit the second size, which is a little bit bigger than I would normally do. But I just wanted something, I'm quite a sucker for a really small hat, but I wanted something that was going to be gentle on my hair and cosy. But I did the short version, and I really now, okay, it makes me look so like every time I put more black on. I want to spin up some fibre that I was very kindly sent from Cozy Posy Yarn Co. To make the matching mittens. I have I have a spinning project that I want to finish and another one that I want to start to finish to go with it. Long story, cat. So all that to say is it might be a while before I can, but I really wanted to spin up yarn to make the matching mittens because I don't have any more Plutalope in my wool pantry and I don't really want to buy it, and I don't really want to buy Letlope just to make mittens necessarily when I've got some lovely black Shetland. I'll show you it quickly. We're showing everything. Here's all my secrets. It's not secrets, but you know what I mean. But it won't be quite so dark, but I think it's going to be so fun to spin, and maybe there's too much here to warrant it being just mittens. Oh dear, Audrey's found the tissue there. Kitten? Oh. Are you having the best time? Can I have that now? So that was my plan. It does now seem like it's too much for just mittens. And maybe it's a hat. Maybe I do the matching and then this one gets passed on to someone else. But yeah, I really wanted to spin up this for some mittens because my mittens are starting to really show their age. I love them. I've given away so many pairs of mittens that I've knitted. Just, you know, they're a great gift and they're easy to size. My fingerless mitts are in perfect condition, they're fine, but my mittens are starting to wear through on the thumb. I wear them a lot at this time of year, and I was going to knit myself a pair of Northman mitts. I think I'll still do that, but in the meantime I wanted to hand spin some really just plain ones because I always end up having colour work. I think I just want some really simple mittens. Lots of waffle, but I'm excited to use this. I'm going to put it here because Audrey has that tissue paper. We did it. That's the finished objects for now. The works in progress that I have, one of them I'm going to talk out loud a bit and see if you can help me. I think I'm probably Hannah's biggest fan. I also love her as a person and I'm very excited to hopefully do some more hanging out this year. Yes, but I cast on socks that I shared last episode and I actually ended up doing quite a lot and then stopping. Let's put the cable needle here and probably forget that it's there. But I cast on using the Audrey Christmas, I believe. It will be in the link description, but this was Hannah's Christmas Eve cast on colourway, and it came with a matching pink, which is really cute. It's a really lovely colour. And I ended up knitting one base of a sock and a whole lot more of another. And here's my thought. So it's nearly done. I love this texture so much. I'm really proud of myself, but I love this texture so much and this technique. However, it's going to be a fuss to undo this, but I think I'm going to. I think I will put this onto a cowl, shawl or jumper because it's truly so beautiful. I really want to knit a black pair of socks like this. I'm not going to, because it is actually quite practical. I've tried this on quite a few times with my Chelsea boots with no discomfort, but it's just not right. I really like them and I think they'd be so much fun to wear next Christmas, but you know, it's a really cool idea, the application's just not quite right. So I'm seeing dragon scales and fairy lights on every other item apart from socks. Yeah, so I really want to do this, and I don't know if I should, but yeah, all that to say, I'm really enjoying knitting these. Like, I've had too much fun doing so, but you know when you get a niggle in the back of your head and you're like, you're not wasting time because you're enjoying doing it, but if you're going to want to rip it out anyway, just stop. So I think I'm going to undo this to here again, and we're just going to knit some same socks. So that's going to happen, I think. Tell me otherwise. What would you do? Would you keep doing it because it's fun? No, we're ripping them out. Thank you. Hold me accountable. They're not going to be finished next time you see them. They're going to be finished as plain socks. I've got a real hankering to knit more woolly socks. Slightly heavier weight, more like boot socks. I have just been wearing my broken rib socks all the time lately, and my 1x1 rib socks. I just think, make what you're going to wear loads rather than. But I do really want another pair of knee-high socks. Or tights, basically. I just want to knit myself a pair of tights. But there's so many things. There's just so many exciting things. And I feel really excited and like supported by crafting at the moment. Spinning, moving slowly. It's just good. I'm sorry. I'm like suddenly like, ha, ha, ha. Anyway. Oh, while I remember, I was very kindly sent a lamp ages ago, and I was meant to do a little segment talking about it, and at first I was reluctant to do it because I hadn't really used it, and if I'm sent something, with no financial gain to myself apart from actually having an item that will be useful for me, I'm reluctant to do a video straight away because you need time to get used to something, to get it at its best, but also then it's not the new shiny thing. You've got a real understanding of it and how it fits into your life. And they've been very patient with me, but basically it was that thing and I was testing it, and then suddenly it was just part of my life and so ingrained that I just forgot that it was a thing that I was meant to review. It was just a really useful thing that I just used day in, day out. Do you know what I mean? This thing has saved my little bottom a few times. I do like to knit with black yarn. I don't have that much of an issue with it generally, but this room is incredibly dark. We're quite lucky today that there's a fair bit of light coming in. But generally this room is a dark room, and to have a lamp that I can move around quite easily. Here she is. She's quite heavy in the base, very heavy, so it actually doesn't fall over the shop, which is nice. And I kind of want to make it like my little Pixar lamp. Give her a name and give her a vibe. But when we went to a wedding in July, again this room gets dark, I knitted a black ranunculus the day before the wedding. So I started it in the evening and used this to be able to work on the you stay here, to work on the texture, and had no issue at all working under this light. So it's been amazing for that. I've used it for filming. I think videos like my weaving video where you need to be a bit up close, perfect. You can see under this light there's like no shadows. I mean, there is on me, but you know, when you're working, so you get a really clear light. I've used it for painting minis, which has been amazing. I'm going to change the battery because there's always some sort of technology that lets you down, right? Yeah. I mean, not like let you down, but you know, I always have something. There's always something. And there, it was battery. Yeah, and I obviously use it for reading under, but I've been really impressed. I don't talk about things unless I really do believe in them, and it does feel weird to be doing this so late on, but I'm someone that's got quite sensitive eyes, like I can see quite well in the dark, but it has made a big difference to being able to knit in the dark without hassling Alex's poor eyes either, because I have it my side of the sofa on this desk and I can like point it directionally where I need it, and his not having to have a big, you know, the big light on. But also it does like, ooh, cold light, warm light. I almost always work on a warm light. I always have my phone on eye comfort and black and white in the evenings. So this is my favourite. And then it also does, ooh, darker and really bright. But as you can see, like, it's a really clear light underneath it. I think it's great for working. So I have really enjoyed and have been very grateful that where I am financially otherwise not, you know, like whoop, 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 to have this being sent to me was a real gift that I appreciate. And if I had the funds and was asked if I wanted to buy one, I probably would. Like, it's very useful as a maker, as someone that likes to craft quite a lot, and I feel like my creativity comes in the last half of the day, especially the evening. This helps keep that going. So thank you for helping my humble little setup here of my desk, which is again one of those things that I would never have bought myself, but has saved both my back and made my weird home space that I work in really quite a nice place to work. If you don't know, I work in my living room, which the compartmentalisation doesn't really happen, but to sit at my desk with the lamp on the left side, and then for the evening to push the desk back in and move the light over to the right side, so the left side of where I sit, kind of breaks it up a bit and makes me feel like I've gone from work to not work, but a different kind of work. So yeah. Yeah. I have one more work in progress because we are really working to reduce what's on our needles because we wanted to start a little bit fresher this year. We have Alex's elf mail, which I am getting to. I've done a few rounds on it. But I think there's that anxiety that I'm going to run out of yarn, and I don't know what the yarn is. So it's just made me a bit nervous, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna finish that this year. And then we've got the socks, which are going to half come off the needles, and that's it. We're kind of at square one again. I think that's it. Pretty sure that's it. Yeah, like that's it. And I kind of want to keep more like that. I'm happy to have an on-the-go project such as socks or a hat or a bralette, like that kind of thing. A garment and a shawl or blanket on the go. But I kind of want to keep it at that. I don't really want it to get more. I feel like I do start to get, it's not even overwhelmed, I think just scattery, and I don't. So yeah, lots of thoughts. We're doing lots of thinking today. So in here is my Alien Emissary shawl by Dorothy. Let's pull up the name, because my brain is a little bit wishy-washy at the moment. Alien Emissary by Dorothy Bulak Erickson. And this pattern I discovered because of my lovely friend Mary of Meredital Makes, who knows that deep down in my soul I would love to work in like costume design in film, and maybe not the designing but the making. There's almost not something on the television that I'm not like, that would have been so fun to work on. Like, so she very kindly linked me to Dorothy's profile, and I kind of lost my little mind. Like, the way she uses and manipulates fabric is magic. And when I saw that she had a few patterns, I was like, oh, that looks cool. But then I saw this pattern, the Alien Emissary, and noticed she'd knit it like 14 times, which I'm a repeater. I think I've knitted this bralette, like crop top, it's a bralette, like 15 times, and I've probably made 15 of these, not these, but the one by round rib hats. But something that big, to knit it that many times is no small feat. So I thought, one, it looks interesting. It does. Two, it's the perfect amount to be using some special yarns that I've got. Three, if she's able to knit it that many times on such a large scale, it must be fun. There's no way it's not. And I was right. So I am using a skein of West Yorkshire Spinners Exquisite, which Alex very kindly bought for me when we went up north for Christmas. We bought it in a little yarn shop that I'll share some footage of at the end. And it is Falkland Merino and silk. And there's like 800 metres. And my gut instinct was like, ooh, perfect ranunculus. No, we do something different. And this is my Targi handspun from Cozy Posy Yarn Co. This yarn was so much fun to spin. The colours and the way they moved was beautiful. But also the fibre itself, so bouncy and springy. And I can't remember, but I think I either got 700 or 900 metres of yarn from like a 105 gram braid or something. Wild to me. And when I saw these just put together on my little desk, I was like, ooh. And then it all kind of fell into place. And I did resist purchasing the pattern, and I did resist casting on for a while, because I was like, no, I'd really like to finish the elf mail, and I'd really like to finish the socks and my blanket, so everything's done first. And then I finished the blanket, and I thought about the socks, and I'm like, okay, cast on. Have something on your needles before you start to feel like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. We don't need that energy. Nope. So I cast on, and I have been actively not working on it loads, just trying to take my time and just enjoy it. And I'm really enjoying it. It is the perfect mix between non-thinky rows and a little bit of focus rows. It looks a bit wild, but I love it. Show you this bit up close. So, like I said, it is a blend between, so I'd say 3 rows where you don't do any thinking, and a row where you do a little bit, and one, like, setting it up takes a little bit of, thinking, but nothing too strenuous. These are made using, I think it says in the pattern, so using bind-offs and cast-on stitches. But the beautiful thing about this is you're making such a large shawl where the rows don't grow longer. the construction on this is very clever, and it's the sort of thing that, I say clever, yeah, clever, I would do personally if I was designing something on this scale to make myself enjoy the process without it feeling like it's going to get long and laborious or uninteresting. The rows will get a little bit shorter, I think, as the wedges grow, but each wedge grows slightly and then goes back to either a similar stitch count or a slightly shorter stitch count. There's no 500 stitch rows on this thing. It's just so much fun. Holds your attention. I think if I wanted to, I could easily do a wedge an evening. I'm trying not to. I'm trying to just do a few rows, go to do some spinning, because I really want my spinning project to keep the momentum. Because I was nervous about my spinning project. But yes, we'll talk about the spinning project in a second. Super enjoyable. If you are looking for a slightly different shawl, I don't know, I would recommend this big time. It also utilises button placement, so you put 4 on, and I think there's like 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom maybe. But because of all these holes, there's so many ways of like buttoning up and attaching it. I'm super excited to wear this. And I'm excited that I'm branching back into different colours. I think this is going to be really fun to wear. Okay, she's waffling. I'm absolutely not going to enjoy editing this, but I'm also going to enjoy, hopefully, some input from knitters. And also, I think we'll do a weaving episode fairly quickly, and we'll book in a knit night date. If you want to join, I'm going to book that in. We'll do that on Discord, because I just miss everyone, and I keep seeing pings for people being like, oh, I'm knitting, are you around? And I'm like, no, I want to be, but I'm not. So we're going to do it. We're going to sit down, we're going to knit together, and I'm going to chill out a bit. Yes, so I am working on one big spin at the moment. I say big, biggish, I don't know. And that is some very vegetable mattery, not perfect, but I did it myself and need to get used to skirting fleece. But this is our local Jacob and alpaca that my mum and dad very kindly, look at me with the cable needle in still. I guess that's part of me now. Got me and bought me for an Easter gift of all things. We don't really do gifts like that for Easter, but my mum was very kind and purchased me some. So it's black alpaca and Jacob with just, I left a little bit of the light Jacob in there just because I thought it would make it slightly more interesting to spin. So far, I'm actually enjoying it. I was actively trying to keep the momentum up with it because I was worried I wasn't going to have as much fun with it as I am. But this is all I've got left. This was the first half, and this is all I've got left of the second half. And I'm torn. If I don't ply this, there should be plenty to make either a nice sized scarf for myself or some fabric to weave into a garment. And I could have a hand spun garment, which melts my brain slightly. I am thinking though, okay, so I'm not a weaver and I don't have that much knowledge of hand spinning and I want to get better. Thought process, if I don't ply this yarn and I'm using it as, say, the warp or the weft, if I was to do a second batch, would it benefit me to do it as singles as well, but spin it the other way to try and balance out the yarn, like balance out the warp and weft? So I've got one going one way and one going the other way, so hopefully the energy in it will like twist and balance because they're not plied. Or do I stop being a sausage, ply this, spin another batch, apply that, and then use them together and see what I can get rather than trying to eke length out. But I just imagine a pair of culottes, hand-spun, hand-woven culottes in the dream colour, which is almost black. I don't know. Any input advice would be useful. So that is one thing I'm spinning. I haven't done any in a while, but I have been spinning this that I can now share. And look at the colour of this. If you're into Critical Role, Scanlan? We dyed this when Frida was here. I say we. Frida and I gave instructions to Alex for the colour we would like, and he very kindly dyed it. It is white-faced woodland from a local charity farm that are trying to keep some rare breeds going. And it is, again, not the best process. You can see some little short bits here, but I did spin up the first half, and from, I think this is 25 grams, I got 100 meters, and it's a nice fingering weight yarn. I just haven't been working on it very much, and that's okay. But I love how it came out, and it just takes a bit more thinking because it's on the drop spindle and there's all the little bits. But I will continue doing this when the time feels right. I'm putting this to the side, but we're telling you about everything we're working on. We're nearly done. Yeah, so I had a lot of fun with this. It's really come out quite... It's a bit more lustrous than I thought for a white-faced woodland. And then we have 2 of these finished spins. I don't think I shared this one before. Lovely Charmaine of Yarn Things offers up a surprise bat as a thing to purchase on her Etsy, and I offered up the theme of Midnight Mass, and in my head that was kind of dark, moody night with stained glass windows and maybe a cup or 2 of mulled wine. Maybe a couple or 3. And she brought a beautiful bat round with lots of mohair, some black Jacob. And I spun this up almost immediately. I couldn't resist. And I really am happy with it. It spun up gorgeous. I haven't done a wraps per inch count, but it's definitely, I aimed for a heavier weight than I normally do, and I'm so excited. I want to knit this, but I also want to put this in a garment, and I was thinking of using that black alpaca with it, but it wasn't right, so I spun the black alpaca finer, and it is what it is. But I just can't decide yet, and we'll see. I think I've just had an idea, but we'll see. We'll think on it. We won't do too much. So yeah, really happy with this spin. And I wanted to do another quick spin before I started on the single colour all black, and I purchased ages ago a bat from Spin Jones, and it was a lilac green like gradient, and I kind of did a fractal spin with it. So I divided the bat in half, so the bat went from top to bottom, it was like green to blue to purple. So I unrolled the whole thing out, broke it in half, and then I divided the second half into quarters and made a little faded nests of each fourth and put that to the side. And then I spun the first half, going from green all the way to purple, on one bobbin, and on the second bobbin I did it again. I spun each little nest going from green to purple, green to purple, green to purple, green to purple, and spun that on one bobbin and then plied them together. So it's kind of quite a fun spin. This one went super quickly because it was fun to see the colours change as well. This used, the yarn for this was merino with various silks in it, I believe, including like little strands of silk, which was quite fun to spin. These colours I think are like quite good for me, but I like to wear this. But we'll see what it's going to be. I keep thinking it should be a gift for a little person that I know who will probably really appreciate it, but we'll see. I'm currently not worrying too much about planning projects. I'm just planning the projects that are like leaping out at me and I'm like, yeah. So with that, I think I'm going to stop waffling and leave you with some footage of things we've done, where we've been, if you are interested. We'll talk about weaving in the future. We'll get Alex involved. What do you think, Audrey? Should we stop talking? I love you. Thanks for being here. I hope to see you again soon if this wasn't too much chaos.